the default is to go to frustration or whatever, it's like, oh, they're doing this, and we get irritated and frustrated. But the question there is like, first of all, like you said, are they going to change? Probably not if they haven't yet
Probably
at
not
this
this
point.
holiday.
Probably not
Yeah.
this holiday. And so then what is the frustration doing for you, really? It's just making you
Mhm.
frustrated, right? Is it helping things, or is it in having the result you want of a more relaxed holiday, or is it just kind of winding you up?
Welcome to The Way of the Muse, a podcast for women who want to create richness in every area of their lives, from business and career to lifestyle, relationships, family, purpose, and fulfillment. I'm Gigi Sage.
And I'm McKenna Sage. We're a mother-daughter coaching team, and combined, we've spent over 4 decades helping people create their best and most fully expressed lives. If you're ready to step into your bigger dreams with ease, fun, and flow, you're in the right place. Let's get into the episode.
Hello, everyone. Hello, McKenna.
Hi, Gigi.
We're both on our travelings here, right? So our backgrounds are crazy. And our
Crazy backgrounds, poor lighting. We forgot our microphones. So hopefully the quality is up to par, but the content will be great. So thank you for being here.
So first of all, happy holidays, everyone. We're getting close here, right? So
yeah, definitely. By the time this comes out, it'll be really pretty much that time. So great to be here with you all as usual. And we have a holiday themed episode for you today, which is around turning holiday stress into holiday magic. So, I think a lot of the stress you and I were talking about at this time of year has to do with we're around family or loved ones, and there is just stuff that comes up, right? Old patterns or kind of patterns of communication, or maybe arguments or frustrations. It's like there's all of the good, but there's also stress that comes in, or you're just busy and running around, etc. So we really want to talk about, if you are home for the holidays, or if you have family over at your home, how do you navigate some of that in a different way and take a new approach this year that can make your holidays so much smoother and more joyful?
Yeah. So I'd love to start with just something that is something I do in life. And I was trying to teach this to my little granddaughter. But I think it's a really great approach for the holidays is I always think of I live things better than I found them. And so when I go into people's environments or, family, in family situation, I'm always looking to see how do I add to what's already going on, or how am I in service to what's already going on? Because we were talking about so much of the time, people go in, I hear this from my clients a lot, and they're upset about a way a mother is, or a brother is, or a sister is. And so they focus on how they are this way instead of, just going like, okay, this is how they are. And probably they're not going to change because I don't like it at this point, since they haven't changed already. And to really, really get in there and just be in service to whatever's going on.
Yeah, this is an easy one to say, and it's a really challenging one in practice. I watch this too with clients and other people I know, and I think what happens there is the default, like you're saying, is to go to frustration or whatever. It's like, oh, they're doing this, and we get irritated and frustrated. But the question there is like, first of all, like you said, are they going to change? Probably not if they haven't
Probably
yet.
not this holiday.
Probably not this holiday. And so then what is the frustration doing for you, really? It's just making you frustrated, right? Is it helping things, or is it in having the result you want of a more relaxed holiday, or is it just kind of winding you up? And that's, again, easy to say and hard in practice sometimes. But I think that's a good way to look at it, because I think somewhere in our minds, we think, well, if I get frustrated about it, or if I show them a different way, they'll do it differently or something. I don't know why we do that, but I think that comes up, right? So there's this way of just kind of letting go and first accepting,
Yeah.
acceptance, I think, is the first step. And acceptance doesn't mean you agree, and it doesn't mean, you know, you condone the way that they are, but it just means, okay, I'm probably not going to change them, at least not this holiday, like you said. So I may as well relax around it a little bit. And then from there, I think the step further, Gigi, that you're sharing is how can I actually even be in service in some way? Can you describe that a little bit? Because I don't think people know what that means.
Well, it depends. It's in different situations. When I go into somebody's environment, instead of course, we go in and we think, oh my gosh, I do this differently or that differently. And if I go down that route and then I think I'm right, then it starts to be like me trying to get them to get something. So instead I go in and go, okay, this is the way they approach these things within the context of the way they approach them. What can I do to help out here? And is that help in the kitchen or clean up after them or go visit with somebody, a friend that's here? Or so how do I add when I go back to how do I make things better than I found them is how do I add to the environment and what's going on instead of going up against what's going on?
Yeah, I think that's a really beautiful way of putting it. We're with Sunny's family right now in Canada, and one thing we're doing is like we're doing family dinners together every night, which is not something they normally necessarily all do. And so we're cooking and we bought all the groceries yesterday and we've kind of planned out meals for the week. And I feel like that's kind of one of the ways that we contribute when we come in because it brings the whole family together. It gives us a chance to have quality time. We have a little baby, so it's like a family friendly activity. So I think that could be another example. Or another thing I often do when I'm home with his family is like conversation topics. He does as well, is like bringing up interesting questions. There's conversation card decks, which I know you're a huge fan of too, Gigi, or you can go on ChatGPT and ask it to come up with interesting kind of conversation generating questions. And that can be really fun to help everybody go a level deeper and not just be in our habitual ways of talking and interacting and so on. It just brings another depth or another quality. So those are a couple of other ideas as well in terms of other ways of being in service, I think.
Yeah, we just had that at Thanksgiving. I'm at my daughter's for Thanksgiving, my oldest daughter. And at Thanksgiving, me, I always, ask people to do a deeper question, deeper conversation. And so with everybody there, I think there was only about maybe 14 of us this year. And I just said, listen, this is something I do, would you be open to do it? And everybody was like, yeah. And so I said, okay, so turn to the person to the left of you and tell them something you're grateful for. And then some of the people didn't know each other well, but still you can, after you've been in the space with them for the day or whatever, you have something, but some of them were couples. And immediately, the first woman to my left started bawling, crying. And she was like, oh my God, Gigi, don't do this. But it was a very sweet moment between her and her partner, right? Or if we had also a couple other people that got emotional, but it was really, really special. And then there was one point with one of the parents that said something to their child, and it was really about the parent. And I said, no, you have to really go, what are you grateful for about your child, And it took a moment, but they did that. And so just teaching people how to do that is so powerful. It changed the dynamic for a few minutes, of course. And then we all went back to whatever we were doing, right? So those little subtle things, and that's how I always feel like I add to wherever I go. Because like you said, McKenna, the more connection, people don't get that connectedness. We talk about superficial things so many times, or about things where we disagree, right? But rarely do we come together and really share something that is in our heart about that person that we love and we appreciate. And those are meaningful moments, man, when you do that. Yeah, because you don't get it in your life.
Absolutely. And otherwise it's so easy for the holidays to just kind of pass by quickly. And we've gone in, we're interacting, we eat, we do whatever, and then it's over, and maybe it was smooth and maybe it was stressful, but how much, like you're saying, of that quality, of that depth, of that meaning, which are the moments you're going to look back on, and you had a point around sometimes I mean, it's like you said, a little morbid, but it is a powerful way to think about it. Sometimes people then later a parent passes on or something like that, and they
Mm-hmm.
go, oh, I wish I would have. Like, what do you see around that with people?
I see this often, is that because I coach people, and a lot of times I coach people for years, and they're frustrated by their parent or their mother or their father, or whatever. And then many people would tell you that through my communication skills and things like that, I've taught people how to have more depth. But still, there's this basically kind of constant irritation, which we all have, right? And but then the parent passes, and then they're like, "Oh my gosh, wish I would have been more grateful for the moments."
Mm.
And I think that's also in the holiday season is, yeah, your mom might be cranky or your dad might be whatever, but also the gratitude that they're alive and they're well and they're here. Because practicing gratitude is more than just saying, "Oh, I'm so grateful for my family." I hear people, that depth of, wait a minute, being grateful that this parent is alive. They still get to be with your kids. Your kids get to learn and understand about them, which is powerful, or being with a sister that you don't get to see very often. And even though you may disagree and your lives may be different, to have just a few moments where you get to have connectedness, and those will have so much meaning through your lifetime.
Yeah, it's kind of like the thing that people talk about of like popping forward and imagining you're 80 years old or 90 years old and looking back at this moment in your life and going like, how would I be reflecting on this moment now? So
Yeah.
for me, if I'm having sleep deprived nights and, whatever it might be, I try to pop out of my immediate experience sometimes and imagine looking back and going like, oh my gosh, this is such a special time, to have a little
Yeah.
baby and to be home for the, home with Sunny's family for the holidays or whatever it is. So you can kind of do something along those lines, whatever your version is. It's like if this person wasn't here, anymore, how would I be reflecting on this time, and how would I want to spend this time with them, which really
Yeah.
brings you back to what are those ways of creating moments of depth or meaning or fun. It could be having a dance party in the kitchen with everybody, or you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Just looking for, again, what kind of memories do you want to make? Which sounds cliche, but if you really think about it that way, it's like, oh, okay. It just gives you a different lens.
Yeah. I love that. That's so, so true. And, again, another distinction to make is we go in and maybe we have a way that we want things to go. And then that person says no. It's kind of like kids. You say, "Do you want to do this?" They say, "No." And then it's to, instead of going in with an agenda, is to really look and see, ask that person, what would they like to do? And going to what they would like to do, because what happens is then that begins to build that relationship, and people are much more open, same thing with children, to doing something with you if you have gone in and done something with them first. So, because this is where people get frustrated as well. They're just like, I went in and I was trying to be this and I wanted to do this and they wouldn't do it. And again, you can't do that, because it's almost like trying to change someone. And remember, we can't change anyone. We can only change ourselves. We can only change the way we approach things.
There's a lot of nuance to this, and I'm glad you're bringing it up, because this is it's almost a little paradoxical or something, but basically what you're talking about is going in with receptivity, which is one of your coaching communication skills. And receptivity is, in this context at least, and I think in general, it is acceptance first. It is going with the energy first, and then maybe you can bring in an idea or you can bring up a question or whatever. But to your point, you're asking, kind of before you share an idea, you're asking, is there anything they would want to do? And kind of opening it up that way. So it's not like you're coming in and just telling them, hey, I want to do this thing or whatever. And like you said, to the person on the other side, that can feel like, what are they doing? Or like, are they trying to like make me, behave in some certain way or make me do something? And so they can get defensive. But sometimes if you go in with the question first and you're really genuinely curious and you see, it's like the defenses drop, and either they might have something they want to do, or they might say, I don't really know. But then there might be an opening for you to share something, right?
Yeah. Or go into something that they're doing and support them, something that they're already doing, get in there and say, hey, can I help? Can I be part of this?
That's a great idea. Yeah. So it's not necessarily always needing to be some thing you come up with. It could just be that they're doing a lot of cooking and you go in and you support with that and you know, talk to them while you're doing it, or kind of making moments out of what's already there.
Yeah, and we did that. That was so much fun last year at Christmas. Remember when we were all together? Because remember there was a couple things we did around the painting the ornaments, and it wasn't set that anybody had to do it, right? We just put them out, and then the kids, and then the adults. And then the adults spent hours doing it.
Those freaking ornaments. We got them for a Christmas party last year for the kids to decorate ornaments and cookies. And I brought them home for the holidays because there was so many extra. And there were these wooden mandala shaped kind of ornaments. And then we got these cool like paint pens kind of. And we got kid friendly ones and adult ones. And same thing at our Christmas party. The adults went for hours. It was like meditative, whereas the kids like lost interest quickly. Same thing happened at our family Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah. And the same thing when we did when Brianna brought home all the painting and we did the canvases and big table. And then we just started it. And again, whoever wanted to stay in and did it. And some people just stayed forever. And some people got bored and went on. But those kinds of things, and you're putting it out there and you're not saying, oh, we all have to do this as a family or something, right? It's an activity. It's fun. It's collaborative. Everybody has so much fun. I'm at Tiffany's right now. We just decorated the tree. And I swear we had 8 of those little mandala ornaments.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
So they're living on into this year.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. So I think the other thing you wanted to talk about was around, we've discussed a lot around the interpersonal, and this is, we've made it more about you going to somebody else's home, but a lot of the same things apply if people are coming to you, as similar communication skills and ways that you can approach bringing people into activities and things like that. What about caring for yourself in the midst of all that? Because it can be a lot being with family or loved ones, and, it can feel stressful sometimes.
I think it's really important to see with your energy, what do you need? Like for me being here for 2 weeks now with grandkids, and I kept them for a week by myself while my daughter was in Japan. It's really important that for me, there are times I just went in the room, spent time reading, spent time with myself. Maybe I got up a little bit later, didn't engage immediately, so I could build my energy back up and I could feel strong. So I think it's that you don't have to be involved every minute. Probably you want to be part of things, but and I would choose like, what are we going to do today? And where am I going to be in here and really active with what we're doing. So I think it's really important for you. Also, it's things like this. If you walk every day and you love to walk, keep on doing that and ask, maybe some people want to go with you. That's a great way to talk and get connected with some people not. And so see, are there certain things you want to do and then involve other people? You want to go get a coffee, see who wants to go. So those kind of things.
Yeah, we did that yesterday where we were together for several days with Sunny's family, and then we just kind of wanted some time with just us because we're all piled in a car, 5 of us with the little car seat, and it's a lot. So we were like, okay, we're going to go to the grocery store, like him, me, and Sienna, and just go the 3 of us. And it was so nice, just like we need that time that's just us as well as having the time as a family. So really taking that time out is important. Yeah, I think those are the main things. Is there anything else?
No, I think those are tiny things. And to go elaborate a little bit more on leaving things better than I find them, I always think of that in terms of when I go into an environment, or even like you said, if people come into where I am, and just how do I leave the mood better? Or how do I leave the connection better? How do I leave the environment better? How do I contribute in such a way that that I added value wherever I was? And it doesn't have to be a lot of work. It doesn't mean I have to go clean up everything or anything. It'd just be teeny tiny little things. And I just think that, and gratitude, like we talked about, being really, really grateful, even though people rub you the wrong way. And what was the other one you said going in? Acceptance.
Acceptance, yeah. And then asking instead of just telling them what you want to do,
Yeah.
kind of starting there, going into, like you said, the activities that they're doing. Yeah, I think those are the main things. And then just taking care of yourself, like you said, getting
Yeah.
yourself what you need. And oh, I know what I want to say is just that when you're looking in that way, when you're looking through the lens of gratitude and when you're looking through the lens of how can I add value or be in service in some way here, it gets your attention off of yourself and it gets your attention off of the problems and it sort of diverts it and shifts it to a different, more useful place that can make, again, more moments of meaning, more ease, more fun. May not be all the time. You may have ups and downs. You may still bicker or whatever comes up. But, kind of resetting to that perspective, I think is just so powerful. So
Yeah.
it's a great reminder this holiday season.
Yeah. So thank
happy
you.
holidays.
Yeah. And thank you everyone just for listening and being part of, our journey here. We so appreciate it. And
Yes.
please share. And what is it they're not liking? What are they doing, McKenna?
rate the podcast, give us a 5-star rating, review it if that's available on the platform you listen on. Anything you can do, share it with friends, family, anyone you think would get value from it. Really, really supports us. And we're going on well over a year and a half now of doing this. I think we started in May. We started in May of 2024 and it's December of 2025. So
wow, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Wow. Should we tell the exciting news about what's coming up?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Definitely. So the book is almost done.
Yay.
You're in the final edits. The cover was just designed. We're getting all the pieces pulled together for it to come out in beginning of 2026. So it's called The Wisdom That Raised Me, A Daughter's Journey into Wholeness, Wisdom, and Womanhood. And so it's stories. It's a memoir style book, stories from my life about really the kind of lessons that Gigi taught me in different ways that she intervened in my life in important moments and supported me to become the woman I was meant to be, to find love, to heal different things, to step into work that I really love. And so, it's really for anyone or any woman who wants to create even more of a life she loves, a life of her dreams. But it's really through this kind of story-based, memoir-based approach rather than like a how-to book.
We're super excited. Yeah.
Can't wait to share it with you. We'll keep you posted when we have an official release date. And thanks again for listening. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Bye-bye.
That's our episode for today, but let's not make it the end of our love story. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast and think of some women in your life you'd love to share it with. And if you want to learn more about our events and programs, visit wayofthemuse.com. See you next time.